So, welcome to Retro Restos. It's an early start for us today. I've just dropped my good lady off at work so I can borrow the car, and we've now got a couple of hours drive to go and pick up some panels. The chap that has them wasn't prepared to post them because they're fragile and rare, so we've got to go and pick them up. All the things we have to do when we're repairing and restoring bikes and cars and things. So without further ado, let's get going. So hundreds of miles and 6.5 hours in the car later, we finally have the new plastics. So here's the nose cone, which is in considerably better condition than the previous one. So rare to get hold of these in the UK, so that's fantastic to have that one. Also, we've managed to get from the same chap a seat unit. Again, this one, if we can open it, is in excellent condition. The bike has only done 6,000 miles, so I'll show you that closer now. And here's the tail unit, again excellent condition. As I say, the chap I bought it from had some new panels come actually with his bike, so he's put them on, and basically taken off the ones that were already on the bike. I hadn't seen that much use, to be honest. The only thing that's wrong with this at all is it's missing the little brass inserts to mount the tail lights, but I've got those in my other unit anyway, so I'll transfer them across. Yep, you would not believe how rare and expensive and hard these things are to find, but we've managed to get them. So yeah, without further ado, I think we'll start stripping out the old headlamps and putting them into the new nose cone. So looking here at the broken one, we can see that there are, well, what have we got? Indicator cables, wiring loom connectors, the headlamps of course, side light as it were, clock connector, loom, bank angle sensor, all sorts of stuff in there. So there was no point taking any of this apart until we'd got the new one. Because we can obviously now transplant everything from the old position and put it straight back onto the new nose cone. So let's crack on. Having removed the 4 corner screws from the headlamp unit, and also just unbolted, there's 2 little 8mm bolts just to undo the bank angle sensor. That exposes the 5th and final mounting screw underneath, and once they're removed, the whole headlamp assembly comes away from the nose cone like so. And so now all we need to do is just get the speed clips out and transfer these little sort of nuts, if you like, onto the new fairing, and then we can reassemble it. And now it's all put back together. Very simple, just the 5 mounting screws and a couple of bolts there for the bank angle sensor. Also, this is, again, as I always say, it's good when everything's apart to give it a proper clean. So I've just got into some nooks and crannies there with some proprietary vinyl and plastic cleaners, just to tidy the inside of the headlamps up. And there she is from the front. So there's the new nose assembly, ready to go back on, but obviously not just yet, because if we come back to the bike, we are still waiting now on various parts. We've got the throttle cables and assembly to go on, if you can see all of that in there, and we've got the bent handlebar to saw and all of this. So there's no point putting the front end together, because we've got a little bit of a situation, if you like, whereby in order to do the throttle cables and the handlebar, we've got to drop the fork out to change the handlebar. So that means getting the wheels off. Yeah, so it's all a little bit of a faff. This is the thing, once you've got an accident damaged bike, you don't necessarily put everything back in the way that you might ordinarily if you were just servicing it, because sometimes to replace a damaged part you've got to get another part off to give you access to something else, and so on and so forth. So at the moment, just a quick recap of where we're at. We've got the remnants of a 2007 Fireblade, but we've got the nose assembly now more or less ready to go back on, but we are just waiting now for the handlebar and throttle linkages and stuff like that. That will all go back together. We've oiled the K&N air filters, ready to go back in. We've got a box full of parts down there which has the airbox assembly ready to all go back together. Then of course we can put the secondary fuel rail, injectors, wiring loom, ECU all back in, and then of course drop the tank forward. Then we can start thinking about the bodywork, and then once that's done we're going to try and get her started, because if you remember she won't start yet because we've had to desolder the alarm as well. So we haven't actually even started this beast since we had her. So yeah, still plenty to do, but on the other hand we are making some excellent progress. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned and please like and subscribe for more updates, and follow our progress. So just a quick update on the RR7 Fireblade project here at Retro Restos, and so today we've received the new handlebar with the throttle cables, start switch and all that kind of stuff. So we've had to pick apart an awful lot of bits and pieces just here. So we've got a lot of the steering damper covers and stuff like that off. That's given us access now to withdraw the cables, which were attached of course to the throttle bodies down there, so that's out. But of course, because various parts were damaged, we've got to replace the bent handlebar, which is down here somewhere. So bit of a banana shape, as you can probably see. So in order to do that, of course, we've now had to drop the fork out. So we've taken the front mudguard off, managed to just drop the axle out just enough to drop the fork through. That gives us a bit of space up here now to put the new bar in. So we'll put the bar in, lift it all back up, put the axle back together, square it all back up, and then we can start looking at putting the switch wiring and the throttle cables back in. So last little job for today. The throttle cables are now in. The handlebar assembly, switch gear, etc. is all on, and the throttle now snaps exactly as it's supposed to. Don't make the schoolboy error as I did of feeding the bar on with the cables and having the cables inadvertently sneak over the top of the top bridge there. Yeah, I'm slightly out of breath. I'm in a bit of a rush at the moment. I've had to drop all the front end back out just so as I could drop the bar, the handlebar back out to thread the cables underneath, and then put it all back together, put the wheel back on, put the brakes back on. Anyway, we're there now. It all works properly. It's fantastic actually. Everything's going back together really well now, so it should just be a case of getting the airbox back on and all the ancillaries. Yeah, getting the injectors back in and air filters and that sort of thing, and then we can start getting the front end on, getting the clocks in, and once the wiring loom is complete we can have a go at firing her up. So that's coming very soon. Like and subscribe, and you'll get some updates real soon. Thanks again. So we have ourselves an exciting time here at Retro Restos, having had this bike for just a week or so now. Quite badly accident damaged to say the least, and we've had to replace all of this sort of gubbins here, the bent bar, the throttle mechanism, the cables, the switch, all this kind of stuff has all had to come off. We've had forks out, wheels out to change, all sorts of stuff. So of course, to get to all of this, those that have been watching and following us will know, we've had to take the steering damper off and all the mechanism underneath just to get to the multi-plugs. We've had the airbox ECU out, yeah, right down to the throttle bodies to put the new cables in, and also there was a terrible alarm in here that wasn't very well installed, or it's semi-unpicked. It was playing up terribly. The bike wouldn't start, but the alarm was going off. So we've desoldered and unpicked all of that, and we think the wiring is all now intact. So the battery's a bit flat, so we've got it on a little booster battery down there, but hopefully now we shall see if we've got any life. So first things first, yep, the switch is working, which is great. Fuel pump is priming, and let's see what happens. Yes, there she is. Come on. That's a... Oh yes. Excellent stuff. So there we go. So she's a runner at last. Fantastic. So now we know that's done, we've got a bit more confidence in being able to clean up the rest of the bodywork and putting that on. Obviously we don't want to put everything back perfectly and button it all up to find the wiring still needed attention. So great news, and that's massive progress for this weekend, so really pleased. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more updates. We'll hopefully have this one finished and ready for the road later this week.